Dating as a gay man often feels like a no-win situation. We can be incredibly judgmental towards each other, while also demanding chemistry. But the reality is chemistry can't exist without vulnerability. Some years ago, I met a gentleman, let's call him Bryce. Over the course of a date, we got to know each other and somehow got onto the subject of our families. I mentioned some of the difficulties I had experienced growing up and how it had damaged my ability to trust others. Suddenly, I saw all the warmth drain from Bryce's expression, and not long after, he asked to call it a night. As we were leaving, I offered Bryce a polite farewell hug. His response was to sneer at me and walk away. I got into my car feeling confused and wondering if I'd somehow overshared. It was only later that I realized that when I was opening up to Bryce, I had breached an unspoken rule. And that rule was to never expose your vulnerabilities to another gay man. Growing up gay in a heterosexual society usually means experiencing minority stress and/or trauma. After being marginalized and bullied, we learn to hide our vulnerabilities, lest they give away our sexuality. Toxic masculinity demands that we hide our anguish and our struggles, and those of us who fail to do so are mocked and rejected. So we try to craft a perfect exterior, using our wit, our brand name wardrobes, our gym fit physiques, and our career success as a cover. This effort, however, is grounded in insecurity and low self-worth. For this reason, we struggle to empathize as much with ourselves as with others. Given our individual histories as gay men, when a romantic interest tries to be vulnerable with us, we may perceive this as a threat. Why? Because when someone is vulnerable with us, they are inviting us to let down our guard. I believe that it's our fear of vulnerability that drives many of us to choose hookups over dating. Hookups offer instant gratification, and they often validate our desirability. Hookups don't demand emotional risk. They allow us to keep our personal histories and our emotional wounds under wraps. To be judged over our wounds is terribly painful, and this is especially the case when it comes to our romantic partners, the people from whom we most want acceptance. But when gay men avoid vulnerability, they are making not only connection, but healing all the more difficult. The downside of being part of a traumatized community is that many members enact their trauma upon others. This can take the form of relationship betrayal, abandonment, and abuse. But much of the cruelty we experience at each other's hands is far more casual. Consider, for example, how certain people will suddenly block or ghost us without explanation. It kind of makes sense that we might try to protect ourselves using judgment and exclusion. In excess, judgment can impede our growth, but used in moderation, it can help us screen out genuine threats to our well-being. Ideally, dating is a process of fact-gathering and deduction. Our job is to acquaint ourselves with the other person's character and compatibility. This requires time and patience, but it's a surefire way to uncover differences, causes for concern, and deal breakers. What does fact-gathering and deduction look like exactly? Let's say your date tells you he's looking for a relationship, but he also happens to mention that he's a workaholic. By defining himself as a workaholic, your date may be telling you that his job will always come first. Speaking as a recovering workaholic, this kind of lifestyle often serves as an escape from a painful past. This constant pursuit of escape can make being a partner of a workaholic a very lonely experience. So if a meaningful relationship is your goal, this person may not be the right candidate for you. What I just made there was an observation and not a conclusion. Your date could always go on to tell you that he was only joking about being a workaholic, and you may later learn that he actually leads a balanced life. But if you'd already made a snap judgment, you might have passed on a potential partner for the wrong reason. As gay men, we share an experience of struggle. There is a commonality to our stories, and also a shared need for compassion. We can show compassion by being patient during the dating process, and by creating situations in which vulnerability is not just allowed, but is embraced. If you enjoyed this video, check out my blog post or any of the other links listed below, and please remember to like, hit the bell icon, and subscribe.